Alas, guys, I forgot to tell you something before we set off.
Well,
We were actually going to a special graveyard, the film studio's graveyard.
actually, we should have known because considering how the letter was signed as our old pal, as Jonah put it, New Line Cinema.
New Line
Yeah.
Cinema. Oh, dear pal. I wish you could be with us this Christmas. We had times together when we roasted you for that god-awful Island of Dr. Moreau film which tortured so many good people. And Val Kilmer. But, yeah.
God,
And, so the reason we're outside this totally existing grave of New Line Cinema is that we're going to be looking at the film that mostly helped to kill the studio as its own entity within Time Warner before they absorbed it into just being a division of Warner Brothers. Welcome to 2007's The Golden Compass, written for the screen and directed by Chris Weitz, who will go on to write the Cinderella 2015 movie for Disney.
I
fair
remember
enough,
this
huh?
book series that I used to read with my parents when I was a kid.
Apparently, he was also the writer of Ants, so that was either the first thing we did. That's impressive.
Not bad, actually.
It was based off a book series, His Dark Materials, more specifically the book Northern Lights, by English writer Philip Pullman. Or Sir Philip Pullman, I should say. And it actually has quite the cast. It's got Nicole Kidman, Daniel Craig, Sam Elliott, Eva Green, in a bit of a Casino Royale reunion from the previous year with Craig.
And Ian McKellen is a polar
Ian McKellen.
bear. As a polar bear.
Okay.
It's just a shame that this movie is boring somehow.
That's the thing. Okay, first of all, also let's mention this. The movie was not technically even a commercial failure because it had a budget of 180 million and recouped
372.2, yeah.
Thank you. But because of it, it's because was the budget of a budget that it was the most expensive New Line Cinema got. That was the thing that led to the restructuring and the eventual absorbing properly into Warner Bros.
Again, how messed up is it? Like, you would think
The Island
something
of
like...
Moreau did not kill this, but just inflating the budget of this fucking thing.
Like, again, it's like the yin and yang. Island of Dr. Moreau was a critical and absolutely financial failure that I don't think even made half of its budget back. Yet here we have a movie that did make over double its budget, but is the reason for the death of the studio.
And apparently it even won both an Oscar and a BAFTA award for its visual effects. So it's not like this movie was completely hated by the critics. I haven't checked what the percentage might. Okay, 42. Again, indication like they kept saying.
Kathy Bates is in this movie. What the hell?
But let's get to the kicker, because I actually do know about this since, I was actually around when the movie came out. And having raised in a Catholic family kind of helped that too. The movie, and for what I've been told, the source material is kind of controversial. Though in a sense that it's controversial for the parts involved, in a sense that a lot of its aspects have been severely criticized by the Catholic Church for being blatant satire of the abuse of power and the rejection of religion. Mind you, this was the mid of the 2000s, the same period where the Church was already going on a crusade, basically against any fictional thing that had any kind of center of satire on church, most noticeably Dan Brown's books and movies. But this was actually already one of them. My parents actually forbid me to see this when it came out, believe it or not. So it was like that kind of forbidden fruit kind of thing. I actually ended up seeing it at a friend's house in 2009, but God, I forgot most of it, gotta be honest. I think what Sherry said, it was kind of boring, and it's kind of sad because this premise and everything seems to be more of my jam.
From what I've heard from Dominic Noble's review, it is somewhat understandable that the Church were a bit iffy with this one, given how it's kind of, well, it doesn't completely go to religion bashing, but it's kind of in. It's one
of those products that like pulls you by the nose and said, "You know what we're saying."
Pretty much. It's not quite on Stephen King levels of religion bashing, but
well, okay. Okay. The film itself, how does it compare to Twilight Saga: New Moon?
Well, we'll only find that out when we start watching the movie.
Yeah.
The director of this movie went on to direct New Moon. So
I completely forgot about that part as well. But this is a point. Let's just start.
All right. Start before the New Line Cinema logo. In 3, 2, 1, go.
I'll be honest.
I did see this in cinemas at the time.
I'll be honest, Pedro. I'll be honest, Pedro. When it comes to the Twilight movies, I always consider those a bit of a get out of jail free card. Like, let's be honest. No one's really on their A game when working with Twilight, given what they have to work with.
That being said, the CGI on the wolves in that movie was really bad. So I'm hoping the polar bear in this one looks better.
Don't you mean by any chance, Pedro, it was rough?
Yes, it was rough. So I'm hoping the CGI polar bear looks better here.
Again, apparently the movie won an Oscar and a BAFTA for its special effects. So here's hoping. Again, I only watched it in 2009, so it could have easily aged for the worse. I admit.
Anyway, it's funny we're looking at the death of a studio, given how our last movie commentary was also the death of a studio. Except instead of it being the main studio, Cats was just the death of the effects studio behind it.
So basically, the premise, Pedro, is exactly the same as the Inokuni multiverse. There are infinite parallel universes similar to ours, with some similarities, but with stuff different. And in one of them...
Hey, Daniel, what are you doing here?
And in one of them, there's stuff like magic.
Sparkle, sparkle, sparkle.
What, is this the opening?
Don't you mean the spice?
Oh, for a moment there, I thought this was not turning into the opening of Dragon Ball Evolution. Like...
Yeah, so essentially the idea is like,
let's start with the first parallel. Again, these ruling powers that he mentioned destroy this potential breakthrough through technology because they deemed it too dangerous for the people. It is supposed to be a parallel to the Dark Ages, where technological progress came to a halt because a lot of times it was deemed as heretical.
Okay.
So the idea in this world is like, well, you have these mystical folk here who are among the chosen ones, and in that regard, they each get their own certain familiar who can shapeshift. The idea is that once a bond grows tight enough, that familiar will stick to one particular form, where they will stay their most powerful.
Okay, mud fight, I guess.
Yeah. Let's hear the music, because I already started to hear it. It's Alexander Desplat.
Well, yeah, Desplat usually composed for various movies like these.
Let's see what it was. It wasn't so much of a busy year. The only other movie that he composed with, and he was even a co-composer, was Mr. Magorium. There's that.
So, my take on the book series. It's been a while since I experienced it. But I'll admit, maybe it wasn't for me as a kid. I'll admit, the thing I remember most is that most people are a dick in this universe. Goddamn. That said, I wouldn't call it a bad book series. It did have me intrigued, and maybe now that I'm older, I can give it a relook.
Also, that term has aged spectacularly.
Yeah.
Basically, daemons are essentially the special familiars that people get paired with.
That's the thing, Teo. That term just sounds like Egyptians, but without the E at the beginning. It's weird. Like, I don't even know what that means. What does that term mean?
It's the term to describe this community of people who gather familiars.
Yeah.
Oh.
Rubbish.
Rubbish.
Very British. Yeah, there you go. I just checked, Pedro, and yes, they're supposed to be a parallel to the Romani. So, fantastic.
Wow, this girl talks just like the girl from The Wizard.
Fucking diplomacy tracks.
So this is Lyra Bella Qua. I don't know how you pronounce the last bit. She's played by Dakota Blue Richards,
Wait.
who's making her film debut.
Also, Lord Asriel, what are you doing out from underground?
Taking a break. He's taking a break in between missions.
So yeah, with the a lore-rich book and Ian McKellen, New Line was clearly trying to recapture the success of Lord of the Rings of this.
They were trying to build a new trilogy with this. It was clear. Eventually, as you can imagine, they canceled the sequels, but they eventually did a TV series that apparently is about to end with its third season. So there's that.
Who painted this building? Michelangelo?
Yeah, basically, his Dark Materials was a collaboration between New Line, Bad Wolf.
Oh boy, she has her very own
familiar
animal psychic.
It's a ferret.
Like Jola mentioned. Go ahead, continue.
And it's broadcast on the BBC here in the UK and HBO over in the States.
So does that mean that characters from that series can join the multiverses?
Possibly.
There might be potential, I guess.
Okay.
Stop closing in on the ferret.
Also, we still need John Oliver with his rat sonar alternative skin in that game.
I'd rather had Mr. Nutter Butcher.
I gotta say, even the colouring looks similar to Lord of the Rings.
Also, I recognize this actor on the right with the uniform. Let me see. He looks like Christoph Waltz a bit. I know, but he's not.
Believe it or not, this one's a bit of an interesting one because this movie was apparently in the works since February 11, 2002, when the studio bought the rights to this trilogy.
Uh-huh.
In fact, back in July 2003, Tom Stoppard was commissioned to write the screenplay. Directors Brett Ratner and Sam Mendes
also apparently
interest in the film.
Also, one thing about Chris Weitz, actually, he was involved with the movie at an earlier stage, but he left the project, but then came back later.
Oh, so it's a good thing that guy doesn't have peripheral vision.
Again, this girl just keeps all the tracks. Uh-oh.
Gee, I wonder what he's going to do.
Don't you see, Dweebs? He's very considerate. He's adding some more sugar.
Sugar to wine?
Maybe that's...
Could you imagine
maybe that's cider?
I'm pretty confident that's not how it works.
Anyway,
could you imagine if he accidentally poured a glass himself and drank it?
So anyway, Lyra's Damon is voiced by Freddie Highmore. The Damon's name is Pantaleimon. Yes,
yeah,
Freddie
Charlie.
Highmore.
That's Astro from the Astro Boy 2009 movie.
Oh, well, good for you, Pedro. He was in this before that.
Well, that's the thing. His career didn't really go anywhere in the years after.
He's been in Bates Motel recently, and that's a successful show.
I guess.
Oh, is that show still going?
I think it's ended now.
Oh, whoa.
Oops.
Whoa.
By poison.
I just saved you, James.
So that's supposed to be wine.
So I guess it's a good thing you were trespassing in this room that you weren't supposed to be in.
Go!
By the way,
You're bound inside the closet.
By the way, Lyra here is played by English actress Dakota Blue Richards.
Yeah, I said that earlier. But this was her film debut. In fact, it's her acting debut in general.
She has not had an extensive career by the looks of things, seeing as how the last movie she's been in was in 2016. But she does seem to be doing good with television.
Stuff. Yeah, she's been in a lot of TV stuff around here. Who said that?
Oh, it was him.
So Daniel Craig is literally explaining what Aurora Borealis is.
It's dust.
Dust.
See,
James Bond explaining Aurora Borealis.
Dust is, honey.
I think the best way to describe this film is like, well, this is the kind of film you go back to look at and say, hey, wow. In hindsight, a lot of people would later become famous.
Localized entirely within your meeting.
There you go, I found him. Simon McBurney.
Hey, Tio.
Yeah?
Meanwhile, that one guy who tried to poison him is going, why hasn't the heart attack occurred yet?
He's just rolling with it. Oh, it was in Mission Impossible Rogue Nation.
Oh, well, this is a better film after this, at least.
By the way, Daniel, how are you feeling? Your heart okay?
Why,
yes, be the nanobots.
Imagine a place where demons don't exist. It could be
very boring.
And the stoutest critic thinks Daniel Craig has no emotion.
Heresy!
And then a commissar from 140K enters in. Did somebody say heresy? One day I really should educate you about that franchise.
Mr. Asriel, why haven't you died yet?
I'm sorry, what on earth are you talking about?
I mean, why haven't you...
Good luck, I'm behind seven children's souls.
Sorry. I mean, why haven't you dyed your hair yet?
You didn't save my life, you ruined my death.
That's some truly Sigma male grind set, I guess.
You just saved my life! Okay.
So, what about it?
I missed the part where that's my problem.
So back to scolding you for saving my life.
Yeah. What was this shot?
Okay.
What was this shot?
Okay.
It's like, stop! Hammer time!
Okay.
Oh.
Okay, this feels like... Okay, this movie feels like it started in the middle of something. Like I feel like there should have been some kind of introduction to what these two characters are usually like together. Like,
I get the idea what the movie is doing is have doing the Star Wars 2 kind of thing, and in say having this character having known each other and said, "Remember the time when this happened?" To use an exposition.
Well, I don't think it's so much that there. It's more so the fact that the dialogue is fine. It's more so the fact that it feels like we should have been introduced to these characters and how their relationship is in a more neutral manner, rather than this feels like something that would happen normally in the middle of a story rather than at the beginning.
And I'll say this: well, I have read the book. That was years ago, so I can't entirely say how much of this or that was changed in the book. What I do recall is that at some point, well, okay, I'll mention it when it does happen.
Okay, now it's actually starting to sound a bit too exposition-y, this dialogue.
Also, apparently, from what I'm checking here, the reason why the final script looks like a mess is because it kinda is. Apparently, there were 3 drafts. Vibbs has mentioned this a bit. One from Stoppard, one from Weitz, and I think a third one, which was the final product. And apparently, the original Weitz draft was pronounced the best of the 3. and which it was the first two were supposedly much longer. Again, trying to recapture Lord of the Rings and having a movie closer to 3 hours instead of 2. And I guess most movie in cinema will actually cut away chunks of a movie.
Well, I guess I'll give Lara some. Oh. Well, okay. Whoa. Where did this come from?
I'm not a lady. I'm a girl.
You know what reminds me of, Joe? Entail reminds me of how Sophie in Dr. Lautrec doesn't like being called Madame. Like, it's just like, it comes out of nowhere and it just, I don't know.
I guess to be fair,
also,
sure,
I recognize
at
this
least
nanny.
in Sophie's case, Madame is apparently kind of a term meant to take the piss out of.
It's like saying old lady to someone who's not.
Okay. That's more like an anime that usually happens. It's just...
it's a Japanese game.
Whoa. Okay, to be fair, Pedro, like you have mentioned with Portugal, maybe it's a different cultural thing.
I get. Oh, sure. I understand.
Also, monkey.
But I'm talking about like the fact that she hates being called lady. It seems that's what.
No, old, as in like being old. Madame is a term specifically referring to like married woman.
No, I know, Tail, but I'm talking about Lyra, who doesn't like to be called lady.
Anyway, hey, Nicole Kidman.
Nicole Kidman. Believe it or not, she's supposed to be our main villain.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
I know, right?
Well, to be fair, if I was watching, just show me something that she can definitely play a character who's definitely a bitch. So.
Oh, she's a bitch here, if I remember right.
Yeah, like if I recall from the book, she was one of the characters I remember made me thinking, God, everyone's a dick in this universe.
Well, the movie will explain. Yeah. Let's just get like the movie sink in.
Sure. Have you seen Skins?
No.
I was just going to say she ended up being the actress playing the main character ended up being in that after this.
Okay.
It's interesting. I was going to give credit to Lyra that at the very least she's not like Earwig, and in the sense that she's a complete bitch to her friend at the very least. But then suddenly, all of a sudden, she snapped on him. Like,
I
seriously.
think that's something to do with the story. Like, it's more like a character trait of hers that she doesn't like being called a lady for some reason. Like,
sure.
Again.
Okay. I got it. Don't call me a lady. I'm a tomboy. I don't like lady things.
Also, apparently the Saigon.
If I do recall correctly, she at least has a better reason than Earwig did.
Also, the familiar of Lyra turned into a stout for a second.
As far as who and what was suffered as a result of this film's failure at the box office, well, by their standards. Part of the reason why this film didn't make much money for New Line was that in order to get the film made, they had to sell off all international profits.
Ooh,
so they could only rely on its American gross.
So they were really banking on this one being a
Basically,
success.
Yeah. And again, while it technically was, I get the idea that it wasn't as much as they wanted.
It was a case of risk versus reward, and unfortunately, it seems like that was a case where they kind of bet on the wrong horse. It's sort of a case similar to Predators. Sorry. It's a sort of a case similar to The Predator. Technically financially successful if you look at just the numbers, but when you factor in everything else, it kind of failed.
Remember, the familiars are connected to their wearer. Harm them, and you're gonna harm them.
Yeah. It's
also,
interesting. It's interesting. Back in the mid to late 2000s, this was practically its own subgenre of fantasy derivative movies for families.
I actually saw an adaptation of Alice in Wonderland that was kind of like this, actually.
Yeah, that was
really liked it.
That was Derek Jacobi.
And that's Christopher Lee.
Christopher?
Yep, Christopher Lee is here.
Christopher Lee and Ian McKellen in a New Line Cinema movie.
Okay, and as far as this casting goes, you can thank New Line for that rather than Chris Weitz.
Well, you don't seriously think that a polar bear could contend with the will of Sauron. There are none who can.
Believe it or not, there is one pair of actors who Pullman has singled out as having been the performance that the film discovered, but they have not shown up yet.
Yeah.
Wait, I feel like I recognize this actor too.
He's beardy guy.
Okay. Seriously though, the most frustrating thing about this movie is that it really does have a pretty stellar cast. Like, hindsight, foresight, or heck, even those that were presently popular. Like, dang, they had such a great cast.
I'm surprised Jim Broadbent isn't in this.
No, surprisingly, no. Derek Jacobi apparently is.
Yeah, I said yes. I said
Sorry.
that earlier.
Sorry. Here's our game, MacGuffin of the day: the activity Troll Golden Compass.
Okay, so there's a bit of a disclaimer here. The series is actually not called The Golden Compass, even though a lot of people...
These Dark Materials, like we mentioned.
Unfortunately, this movie has led some people to believe that the series actually is called The Golden Compass.
Okay, I think I might have missed something. Who is this guy to Lara?
Wait, this guy?
Yeah, this guy, because he's giving her this thing out of nowhere, it seems.
Well, this is something that her uncle Asriel said to give to her.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Like, she doesn't really have a deep relationship to this guy, if that's what you're wondering.
Sure.
Okay,
I must have missed it earlier.
Where was this movie filmed? Shepperton Studios, the old Royal Navy College at Greenwich.
Generic British location.
Mostly. No, it was just the UK. No New Zealand. That's surprising.
I mean, this is a British book series. So.
That is true. Well, Tolkien was also British.
To be fair,
that's the thing, though, that the environment of Lord of the Rings is so unique. They had to go somewhere like New Zealand.
That is true. So, this is parallel. This is having actual architecture that's similar to the British one.
Oh, okay. So this is where they took it from.
Well, admittedly, that Zeppelin is pretty cool.
Yeah, that's the thing too. Like,
reminds me of the Rocketeer.
I'm starting to get the feeling when South Park had that imaginary character from the Imagination Land trilogy had a blimp. It was probably a reference to this, considering that particular trilogy is all about referencing all these fantasy characters.
When was it released, actually, the trilogy forgot?
2009, around there.
It's pretty checks also on time.
Because remember, they had a line for Narnia, so they had like a whole slew of classic modern characters.
It checks out with the time.
So one thing you may have noticed is that Lyra noticed that her friend Roger seemed to be missing. But Nicole Kidman basically goes, Roger, who's that?
Yeah,
as mentioned, she's part of his magisterium, as it's called.
Never mind.
Also, hang on a minute.
What?
Apparently the original script for this would have caused the film to be nearly 3 hours long, but New Line...
this actually I did mention.
But New Line wanted it to be 2 hours.
Yeah, I don't understand.
be more marketable. And this is the same studio that put out Lord of the Rings,
And
3
for the
successful
record,
3-hour-plus movies.
And for the record, there is no extended cut version of this movie. This is all we got.
So did Nicole? So Nicole Kidman adopted Lyra now?
No.
She's more.
Well,
it's more. She actually expressed interest for her to see the Magisterium.
and also
Okay.
to take Lyra under her wing to mentor her of sorts.
I feel like this movie could have made good use of an opening narration sequence that
Again,
sets up
I-
the setting.
We did technically have that.
But it wasn't that long, I have to admit. I do wonder if the things that were cut away could have helped, actually.
So
it was just the dinner table scene that we had that was most of it, and yeah, that was pretty short.
Now, believe it or not,
Also, look at that. Look at how fast we're skipping these scenes. Yeah, you can definitely tell they were supposed to be a bit elongated, but they were
Yeah,
truncated.
this is some rushed pacing right here. Like I can
Also,
see. This is why I've missed a couple details here and there. Like this movie moves by too fast.
Unsurprisingly, 3 separate editors.
now, back to what I was saying
multiple editors do work in the
earlier.
movie.
Back to what I was saying earlier. Believe it or not, Nicole Kidman was actually offered Philip Pullman's preferred choice for the role 10 years before production of the film, and she initially rejected the offer because she didn't want to play the villain. She signed on after receiving a personal letter from Pullman, though.
Oh, nice. Yes.
And
Also,
yeah.
I believe so.
I was going to say, wait, the Catholic Church hated this movie?
Yes, well, I mentioned this in the introduction.
Because the Catholic Church are a perfect bunch, and that's all I'll say about that.
Already have gone into the whole back and forth thing on that thing. Like, yeah, it's
it's not just related to this film, but yeah, I won't say anything more about that. I think you guys know where I'm going.
like I said, yes, rich that they got mad at it. However, this movie, and by
Okay, that was funny.
yeah, that was funny too.
Never give a child alcohol, especially wine. It's not even a case of they cannot hold it; they generally just don't like it.
Yeah. But yeah, like I mentioned, it is rich that they got mad at it. On the other hand, yeah, the story does get a little bit iffy with
Also,
borderline religion bashing.
Also, high key.
It's still the same
It's still-
familiar, just shape-shifting.
Again, Dwebs, the point is like, well, when a familiar is younger and, their bond with their respective master has not matured yet, they'll keep shifting. It's only when they properly mature that they'll stay to a certain form. Like how Kidman's is stuck in the form of a monkey.
Also, Miss Coulter, have you actually perchance met the hero Momotaro? Because apparently you're bearing one of his pets.
Yeah.
Okay,
Did
just writing
did
enough.
you just say dust?
Okay, just writing enough. Okay,
Is dust
just
like-
writing. Okay,
We
just writing.
we don't talk about dust.
But it's on all the shelves and the tables, top of the cupboard.
I stand
do-
no dust!
Talk about it.
It's everywhere.
Shall I get my ruler?
You breathe dust! What a lovely woman.
Okay, that just feels random.
I suppose she doesn't seem to be as outwardly dickish as she was in the book. Granted, it's been a long time since I read the book, and that was
It's
like
more
when
of
I was
a
much
case,
younger. So
as you can see, it's kind of like Mother Gothel. It doesn't start immediately to click you how manipulative she is, but it gets you.
where's
I
in the
don't know,
I
book?
need
Theo.
to.
Where's in the
Lady Gothel is very quick to show her true colors.
okay. Not to
Like, that's
Rapunzel
why
though. Like that's
That's
the
what
thing.
it,
Though.
not just that. That's what you say, kinda, not completely.
Mwah.
Also, don't destroy the cat, please.
Jesus Christ.
Basically, do what I say.
Okay, sure. It looks like we're getting another kitty
Or
death
else.
now.
Well, I mean, if the cat dies, she dies. So
Pretty much. Basically, do
Okay.
as I say, or I'll have my familiar choke your familiar enough until you die.
Also, I need to rewatch the Lost in Adaptation again, but I think I remember that she was crueler, according to that in the book.
Yes. Like I said, I recall her being much more outright cold and strict. Whereas here, she's going for a bit of a Mother Gothel thing where she seems nice at first, but it becomes quite apparent to the viewer that, yeah, she does not mean well.
Okay.
Well, anyone with green flames in their office can obviously be trusted.
The Weasleys did when they used the teleportation
Green
powder,
fire.
Joba.
So
How
is
judgmental of you.
Green fire. So is Nicole Kidman actually Maleficent?
Again, maybe she just used the teleportation powder from the Weasleys.
I don't know, Teal. Long Fang had green flames in his office, and he wasn't exactly the nicest guy.
Get back, you fools! Ha 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 ha.
I will agree that the pacing did feel a bit quick in the last bit ones, though. Yeah, like even as somebody who hasn't read the book in a while, even I feel like certain stuff just got boop 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 skipped.
It's this thing where how long was the first book then?
God.
Again, I haven't actually read them on my own.
Like
so I
I
don't
said,
know
it's
actually
been
how
a while
long they
since
are.
I've read it. I don't have my copy on hand.
Okay, was it like about as long as Harry Potter and the Philosopher's Stone?
Yeah, I think it was around the books were around the same size as the average Harry Potter books.
Okay. So the first Harry Potter movie was probably around 2 hours and 15, around that area, wasn't it? Dwips?
Uh-oh.
How long was it?
Sorry?
How long was the Philosopher's Stone movie? 2 hours and 15?
Let me see.
Apparently, there was also an extended cut of that, if I recall.
So it turns out
the film was 152 minutes. So it was 2.5 hours over.
Good job.
So it turns out that Miss Coultiers may be running the Gobblers, the organization. Yeah, that's Lyra suspects maybe after, maybe after the kids and capturing them. So
basically, if I understood correctly, Jova, we have a Venom 1 kit in our hands where about 40 minutes was cut.
Basically, well, actually around an hour, Pedro, in this case.
So basically, Jova, if I shot someone's familiar, the person themselves would also die.
Well,
also,
it would have to be a fatal
why
shot.
the angle shot? Yeah, why the angle shot?
Okay, movie. We need to have a talk.
Check out my directing, big boy.
That said, though, Dwibs, even if it didn't kill them immediately, they would feel the same pain as the familiar.
Yeah. Well, that's the biggest problem I'm seeing with this movie so far. Chris Weitz feels like he's trying so hard to be Peter Jackson.
Okay,
mate, you're not Peter Jackson.
Okay, to his credit, how much of this was like New Line Cinema demanding for the edits of the script? Because it does sound like the original script.
No, it was actually New Line Cinema who demanded the cut of the complete cut of the original script.
So is this like a case where his original vision may have worked out better, but New Line Cinema mucked it up?
Remember what I mentioned before. From the different scripts that they got, the original one that Chris Weitz did, which apparently was actually the closest in terms of actually adapting the book, was also deemed the best of the ones we got.
It's a good thing they had a net on hand. I have a bigger problem actually.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Movie.
There you go. If the word dies, the familiar also dies. Go on, Pedro.
Yes, Pedro.
Movie, we need to have a talk about your pacing. In the span of 30 minutes, we've literally gone from having that argument with Daniel Craig to then being taken with Nicole Kidman, that we escaped from Nicole Kidman's house, and now we met these people, and we keep jumping from plot thread to plot thread, and like seriously, nothing gets fleshed out, nothing is given time to breathe.
Lady, we haven't eaten soup together. Don't hug me.
Even if you guys didn't tell me, I would already be immediately able to tell that there was probably a lot of shit cut out. Like, seriously, the movie is moving way too fast.
Also, that was very specific to you.
It's actually a way of saying in my country, as in, it's more in jokingly kind of way to say, oh, we haven't eaten soup together, so don't address me like that.
Okay, again, it's been ages since I read the book. Maybe I'm misremembering, but I really do recall the pace being slower. And again, maybe...
From what the people that I know that have read the book told me, she actually does spend quite a bit of time inside the Magisterium.
Pretty much, yeah. And also, I recall spending more time under Miss Coultier's roof as well before escaping.
And now we're pirates on the open sea? Movie, stop for a moment and flesh out your shit.
Are these led by a walrus as well?
What's that?
Okay.
Gotta go finish, Pedro.
What was that, Pedro? Flesh out our ship? Okay, then.
Our shit. That's what I said.
No, I thought you said our ship. Okay, let's put them on the ship and flesh the ship out.
Teo?
Yeah.
I know it's early, but I'm already ready to give my diagnosis. Rushed pacing killed this thing. Holy
Probably.
crap.
Again, that's the weird thing, though. For as much...
Hello?
Yep.
Hi.
And who you might be.
I mean, I'm still going to continue the rest of the autopsy tale, but I'm pretty confident my diagnosis is correct.
Also, count executive meddling as well because of what we said.
Sure.
From what I understand, Chris Weitz had a good vision in mind, but New Line Cinema, well, they kind of screwed the pooch, to say the least, it seems.
Again, though, it just seems backwards. You say you think a 2-hour film would make more money, and yet you released three 3+ hour films like a few years before, and you made the shitloads.
Was there a change in management at that company around the time?
Remember, the original script was actually written by Tom Stoppard, like Reeves mentioned, but then it was booted out.
Well, I'm asking if there was a change in management, like at New Line Cinema, around the years.
I don't know.
Not what we know, at
that's
least.
That's really the only legit reason I can think of them making such a boneheaded decision after Lord of the Rings literally became some of the highest-grossing films of all time.
The development of the movie started actually in 2002, right after the success of Fellowship of the Ring. So the movie took still a bit to actually be released, but it wasn't still that much after the Lord of the Rings concluded. So it's kind of baffling the fact that New Line decided to act this specific way.
Maybe there's some more intricate details as to why
the master of Jordan. Who? Michael Jordan?
Anyway, John Fye is actually played by Jim Carter.
I thought he seemed familiar. Also, Ma Costa is played by Claire Higgins. Again, this is like, an all-star cast.
Let me see. Oh, it was in Dinotopia. I saw that.
Which Dinotopia?
2002. I think it was the direct to TV movie.
Oh yeah, the live action one.
Yes, I only saw the live action stuff.
I liked that.
I really enjoyed them.
It's a shame it never got a full series.
I think it actually did. Yes, it did. Got a mini series. Of 3 episodes. Actually, no, hold on. 3 episodes. Okay, I might be just misremembering. I'll check it later after we're done today.
Those 3 episodes may have been like the TV movie, I think.
Probably.
Because, I remember the DV set I have has like 2 different discs, which split the thing in half, so I wouldn't be surprised if that covers
Get out of here, Samus.
Also...
Yes, Pedro?
That woman,
Again, yes, Claire Higgins. What about her?
Yeah, Claire Higgins, that's it.
The person who is deciphering, let me see, is played instead by Tom Courtenay.
We're back in the intro of Dragon Ball Evolution. Seriously, these sequences are just like the intro of Dragon Ball Evolution. What the hell?
Okay, if I can give this movie credit, the effects and visuals are easy on the eyes. Especially for 2007.
You can tell some of that have aged, like some of the familiars, for example, obviously. But for the time this was made, it's fine for me.
I can at least get it winning the award for visuals, so fair enough. Again, though, I mean,
Okay.
that's the sad thing. For as much as we try to figure out why this killed the studio, what?
Okay, Jova, do me a favor.
What?
I blinked. Could you please recap me what happened in the last 10 minutes, because I feel like I'm getting lost.
Hold on. Remember, the child has been put into this rehabilitation kind of camp.
The prison of the gobblers here and there.
To mention also this, Pedro. Again, the protagonist got drafted into the ship, and the second in command of the leader of the group managed to actually decipher roughly what the Golden Compass tells.
To give the movie credit, we do know enough to explain why this is going on and that here and there. Yes, there was a bit skipping around here, but no, the last few minutes, they have actually sat down to explain
I do agree, Bob, that it might have been rough, especially for a casual viewer.
That reminds me of Star Wars, but that could be just a coincidence. Oh, by the way, did I mention that Star Wars was cited as one of the inspirations for the script?
Considering also the kind of architecture and what you said about, what we said about being on the nose, I wonder if it's also more of a parallel also to the Vatican.
See, here's the thing. Maybe if the movie focused on one scene for more than a minute, it would be easier for me to get.
This is also, Pedro, kind of a bit, not entirely though. MCU phase 1 syndrome, like Iron Man 2, spending too much time setting things up rather than telling the story that the movie needs to tell.
I do wonder if they're setting stuff up for future movies, or if it's literally just a case of them trying to fit as much as they can in, less
it might
than
be,
2 hours.
Lord of the Rings shot, why not?
Hey, we can't forget everything that made us money now, can we? And again, that's the sad thing. This movie did still make the money.
Again, gotta love how New Cinema managed to be very productive and constructive and gave healthy jobs to the helicopter industry. Come on.
Hello, blokes. I'm still in this movie.
Well, of course, he's one of the top names here. We can't just forget he exists.
I get that. It's just that he's been gone for the last 20 minutes or so.
Well,
he did mention that he was supposed to actually, go in exile immediately, because otherwise he would have been hunted by the Magisterium.
Speaking of which, wow, he really was practicing for James Bond in a sense.
We even have a chase scene in the snow.
Well, this is a year after Casino Royale, so.
Whoops.
Oh, so he was already James Bond at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah, Casino Royale was the year before.
So, yeah, they definitely got him as one of the big names for this then.
Mm-hmm. Both him and Nicole.
The music is certainly having a go at it.
He's even in a snowy area, like what James Bond is.
Yeah, I noticed. Ow.
Ooh.
Not to mention,
he's even got the James Bond snark going on.
Not to mention, he's the most high-profile actor we have, so we can't do with him just yet.
What about Christopher Lee?
What about Ian McKellen?
Ian McKellen is just a voice actor. I'm talking just about live-action actor.
Still, though, no, voice actor or not, Ian McKellen is a pretty stellar name.
Yeah.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. That's the thing, though. I'll go into. Have we met his character yet?
Nope.
Okay, that's the thing though. Ian McKellen, in the role he was cast, wasn't even supposed to be in the movie originally. That was again a New Line mandate.
Again, I actually don't know if it was supposed to be a thing that was said present in the next book adaptation or not. But
it's a fun fact though. Daniel Craig apparently wasn't the first choice to play Lord Asriel. Apparently, it was reported that Paul Bettany was in talks to play the role.
Yeet.
Yes, that's right. Instead of James Bond, we could have possibly have had Vision.
Jarvis?
Yes, Jarvis as well.
So, what is these mechanical mosquitoes?
It's a
Yeah,
spy
there you go.
fly.
Yeah,
I'm not really a fan of this actor's delivery, to be honest.
He does
Let me
sound a
see.
bit robotic and monotone. And so
Tom
you
Courtney. What else he has done?
But yeah, Droop has a point. His delivery is kind of like, and so you will see. That
It's like he
there
has
is
the
nothing
script in front.
living right in here.
It's like he has the script right in front of him.
Oh,
and
it
he's
was
just
in
reading off
Leonard Part 6.
that. Oh,
I've never heard of that one.
and then part 6, it was that one with Bill Cosby in it.
It was the first movie directed by Paul Whelan and has a reputation for being very poorly received.
Ooh. So,
But other than that, this guy, Tom Courtney, has an extensive career, but I don't recognize any particular movie that he was in. Yar.
I can get why some people may have been bored here. Yes, there are stakes. Yes, stuff is happening. But it doesn't feel like it has the good foundation to help people to care like Lord of the Rings did.
It doesn't mean anything, Joe, because since we don't spend enough time with each individual plot thread, the movie, doesn't really allow the audience to absorb what's going on.
Although that ship does look pretty cool.
I'm also sad to say that the standing sound of this plot score is nowhere near as memorable as the score of Lord of the Rings. Sorry.
Like,
he's probably just okay. Get another one of these. All right,
it's serviceable. I don't think it's outright bad, but not really as memorable as they probably wanted it to be.
You wanna know? So, for as much as we talk about how this movie is a failure here and there, What is it, Pedro?
Who is this?
There you go, Pedro.
There you go.
Oh, okay.
Asked and answered.
Played by Eva Green.
So we have a French woman who has a British accent.
She was also fresh from Casino Royale.
Oh my god, so it's a Casino Royale reunion.
Oh, she was also in Kingdom Heavy in 2005. This was actually a good track of for her career.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so...
Excuse me, I believe we just met and you are in no position to make demands from me. Please get away from me.
I need an adult.
Yes.
Also, this wasn't the only movie in 2007 that Nicole Kidman and Daniel Craig were both in.
Oh.
The other film was The Invasion.
Oh, I saw that one.
A film that was supposed to be Oliver Hirschspiegel's big break into Hollywood, but Warner Brothers took the film from him after it was done and had the Wachowskis rewrite it.
It's a modern interpretation of Invasion of a Body Snatcher, and yes, I do remember a couple of pretentious lines.
Because that's where you get to punch up your script, the Wachowskis. But
yes,
Pedro,
the Wachowskis made Matrix, and that was a big success from Warner Brothers at the time.
Okay.
Yes, and that was back in 1999.
Commercial bomb and 19% on Rotten Tomatoes. Yes, just as bad as I remember.
Also, the first rule is there are no rules.
It's a very cool line, Pedro, don't you see?
Yeah, a line that Dragon Ball Evolution would reuse 2 years later.
Is it? Yeah, that's the problem.
That's everyone's favorite movie.
No. I think you misunderstood. Like, the movie didn't say that. I'm just repeating it because, again, those sequences with the magic dust thing remind me so... Seriously, go back and watch the prologue of Dragon Ball Evolution. It's just like it. It looks just like it.
I must go now. My planet needs me.
Pedro, I don't want to watch that movie again.
Wait,
I don't like it.
You weren't in the first commentary.
Wait,
I don't think you were.
What movie are you guys talking about?
Dragon Ball Evolution.
No,
Yeah,
Shuri.
but you're talking like I haven't seen the movie in general, but I have more than once, and it's garbage.
My condolences then.
Someday, Shuri, a commentary Generations is coming, and you and me.
No, go away.
You and me are probably going to.
We can discuss this another time. Go on, Pedro.
No, it's because. No, it's because that woman literally came in. She showed up to explain some stuff.
General Ross, what are you doing here?
Okay,
what are you doing?
Not only that, so guys, I mentioned that there's a pair of actors here who actually did get great reception, even from the original author himself, and here they are: Sam Elliott and Kathy Bates as a Jackrabbit. Now, why? Okay, so in regards to the character Sam Elliott is playing here, this is Lee Scoresby, a Texas aeronaut, and basically Pullman singled out Elliott's performance as one the film got quote-unquote just right.
Okay, Joe, I have a question.
What?
That woman, I forgot her name, that one played by
Evergreen's character.
Yes, Evergreen. Like, does she come back in this movie?
I think so.
Okay,
I mean, given how high she is on the cast listing, I'm pretty sure she would need to come back.
Sure. Because from the context of the movie right now, she just came up, she helped explain some exposition that needed to be explained, and then she, okay, that's it, bye.
Okay.
Like,
I'll admit.
This is so sloppy.
But yeah, from what I do recall, Sam Elliott's character is one of the breakout characters in both the book and the film. I mean, it is flipping Sam Elliott, and it helps that he's being backed by Kathy Bates, so yeah.
And he's not just, your typical cowboy stereotype, he's also a sky pirate.
Huh. A Texas sky pirate cowboy.
Because if there will be treasure, there will be sky pirates.
Again, Sam Elliott's awesome. You know what? Sam Elliott's awesome, so I'll allow this. I mean, I still will say this. The MCU should have gone with Sam Elliott over William Hurt.
Can you imagine if that's the justification they pull in the She-Hulk Disney Plus series? The multiverse scrambling changes back Ross from one actor to another.
That would
Okay.
be cool.
Halfway through, we're finally meeting Ian McKellen's character. Yorick,
the polar bear.
Yes. Yeah, Yorick Birnison.
Man, Palpatine, you really let yourself go.
Right, now I can get to the reason why, how this casting came about.
Go ahead.
Originally, it was.
Go ahead.
Originally, it was a combination of Nonzo and Nosy, who you normally see in a lot of Kenneth Branagh movies, and also Pan. And Chris Hemsworth originally recorded lines for this character, but because New Line Cinema wanted a bigger name in the role, they got Ian McKellen. Hell, the president of production, Toby Emmerich, said he never thought Nosy sounded like Yorick, and even though he at first trusted White on the casting decision, he still felt Anonzi didn't sound right. And Chris White was kind of bittersweet about this. He basically said, while it was against his wishes, he said, quote, "If you're going to have anyone recasting your movie, you're happy it's Ian McKellen."
True.
Okay, I get that they want Lyra to be snarky and,
to provoke him into action.
But this is starting to get to a point where she's genuinely mean-spirited, like seriously.
No, this was actually intentional instead of actually wanting to do. Because again, one thing that the movie, unless the dialogue, if you pay attention to the dialogue, doesn't really convey you, is that Yorick right now is drunk as shit.
Yeah.
Like
as he mentioned, the only reason why he's allowed to stay is because the town people literally drunk him to stupor until he sleeps or fights on their behalf in cage fights.
It's a shame this polar bear doesn't meet Christopher Lee's character. Otherwise, I could just have some more Lord of the Rings jokes. But
alas, I think Christopher Lee was actually a very small cameo. I don't remember if he comes up back in the movie.
I think, okay, see, let me put it this way, too. It's more so because they're doing such a poor job of fleshing her out that it becomes less to tolerate when she's being
Again,
needlessly mean.
I genuinely wonder if at least a good chunk of that cut stuff was right, to be put right at the very beginning.
Like I said, even if you guys didn't tell me, I can tell that there's a lot of crap cut out of this.
Also, the poor bear ass shot.
Because the scenes in this movie don't really end. They just stop and move to a different scene.
Oh yeah, guys. He's totally not gonna come back to war. Never mind the fact that the literal cover is him in battle armor.
So what was
Joe, it's a very traditional cliche, Joe. But the quote unquote retired guy is always reluctant to join, but then he joins up because why not?
Again. It's like I said in our Rise of Skywalker podcast discussion. I get wanting to build suspense or something, but when it's something that's been spoiled by the advertising to high heaven, it's really silly when the movie actually goes. Nope,
and here we get actually the backstory of Yorick, by the way. Yeah,
basically,
he was supposed to be the next in line of being a king.
You know, one thing that baffles me about, well, again, one of the people behind this movie?
Yes.
Toby Emmerich in particular. He was the guy that kept, that was partially part of the group that kept screwing about with this movie. And yet he's one of the executive producers of the TV show.
Did he want to make amends after this movie?
I don't know. I mean, if he was legitimate about that, then props. But again, it'd be like, but also he's like one of the higher ups at Warner Brothers now.
I will give the movie this. Ian McKellen did change up his voice enough so that you could mistake him for someone else. I mean, if you listen close enough, you can come to the conclusion that that's Ian McKellen. But no, he does sound different enough that he sounds a bit like other voice actors as well, with the voices going for.
Another problem is how, even when they do that thing with the Dragon Ball Evolution style animations of doing the backstories, even those bits are rushed. Seriously, we had a total of 5 seconds of that flashback with the bear's backstory before it stopped?
Actual evangelist iconography from Russia. Cute.
Okay, there he's got his armor now.
Which is admittedly pretty cool, albeit rusty though.
I have completely lost track of what I'm supposed to care about in this movie.
I wouldn't fault that entirely on the movie in that regard. I mean, it's hard to follow by, but I'd say if you're paying enough attention, you should be fine. That being said, though, I will agree that it gives a far less thorough story, though. Oh, he's even got a single-action Colt revolver. He's that much of a cowboy.
Partner.
Oh, but that guy looked like he really wanted to kill something.
Sorry, partner, not today.
Sure, a question.
Yes.
Have you seen Raiders of the Lost Ark?
Yes?
We commented on it, Pedro.
We literally commented on it.
Yeah, you're right. I forgot about it.
I've seen it before that, though.
That too, yeah. But yeah, again, Sam Elliott plays the role to a T, and he is hands down my favorite character in both the book and the movie.
His mustache is clearly a life goal.
My point is, more movies should do what Indy does in that movie with his gun.
Killing Nazis?
Well, that too, but remember that guy with the soldiers up, and then Indy's like, there you go.
Also, while I was away...
that's... Even the music.
Very subtle of you movie.
Alex, Mr. Display. Come on, man.
You know what? The music might as well... that choir just then... The choir might as well have just said, bad guys left.
Also, I have a bit of a trivia. That gesture that he did with his foot is not really casual. In my country, particularly in my city, it's used on some mosaic that are on the ground for superstition and in some cases religious purposes. So once again, the movie is winking at you.
It's shoving the eyeball in your face, more like.
I guess, to be fair, the movie did try to mitigate the religion bashing, I guess, at least.
There is an actual section where Wikipedia tells. I will try to read it during the final parts a bit, because otherwise it will be too long.
Also, while I was away, I learned Alice actually read the series. She liked it.
Okay.
Nice, yeah. Again, I don't recall the series being bad from when I read it, so...
I also heard that the HBO series has been received mostly positively, so there is that too.
Or BBC as well, yeah. HBBCO.
So it's a collaboration
the
between
reboot
HBO
series,
and BBC and...
Yeah.
Huh. Maybe I was right about Chase becoming an insane villain in Batman Forever.
I have lost my child to torture.
Don't hit the monkey.
Jesus Christ.
Also, it's kind of ironic.
Also, stop slapping yourself, I guess.
I'm sorry.
Also, a bit of irony. Nicole Kidman's character is rebelling against the totally not Catholic Church we swear.
Also, wow,
Nicole
emotional
Kidman
abuse. Yay.
Nicole Kidman herself is a devout Catholic.
It's
Yeah.
That's the seriously, that was that escalated quickly. Jesus.
But now
Again,
she's
to
off
try to showcase, like Shiri mentioned, how she's very
Also, wait,
emotionally
isn't this-
abusive.
Hang on, isn't this her familiar?
Yes.
Yeah.
How come she didn't feel the pain in her own face?
Okay, okay.
She probably did.
Okay, one, she probably did, and it wasn't like a case where, it could kill her.
It's a good job she didn't shoot the creature.
So hold on. So doesn't this count as both animal abuse and self-abuse?
Yes.
Basically.
Why
Don't you
both
see,
now
Pedro,
when you can throw...
this character is very complex.
Clearly. Yeah. Well, so that was like a full 30 seconds of Nicole Kidman. Okay, back to this.
Again, it's to set up the threat that she's pursuing our hero.
So in order to... Sorry, go on, Dweebs.
Where did Daniel Craig go?
I know,
He's
right?
been
See?
captured.
Yeah, I know, but how long ago was that?
Okay, again, to be fair, the main character we're focusing on is Lara. That was also a thing in the book here and there.
Not to mention, I get also one thing that Dweebs is mentioned. Like I mentioned in the Lord of the Rings, one strength of that kind of story was telling a collection of micro stories that ultimately come together, each character having their own story arc, their goals being intertwined with each other. Again, this is trying to capture that as well, but not reaching that at least on that same level.
And
It needs to
honestly,
be longer to do that.
Here's the main problem. I don't think they should have been trying to do that. From what I recall, the book was mainly a focus on Lyra. Sure, maybe we got some scenes of the other characters here and there, but it was mainly Lyra. It wasn't like Lord of the Rings where, everyone arguably, got their own respective roles, in the parties and whatnot. Here, it's more of a traditional story that I guess they're trying to do in a similar way to the Lord of the Rings film. Despite throwing out the runtime, which, helped the Lord of the Rings films pack in as much as they did and help them become renowned.
What are you pondering, Yorick?
I'll be honest, the development of this movie confuses me. We want to make the next success after Lord of the Rings, so let's throw out one of the key elements that helped Lord of the Rings be a success.
Oh, this didn't work. Come on, tell Peter to extend The Hobbit into 3 movies somehow.
Oh,
that was already at that point to where Warner Bros. Had to cover.
Yeah.
Fully, at least.
Again, I must remind you, audience, though, despite all the problems with this movie, it wasn't like the problems are the main reason that this movie killed the studio. It's mainly just because they apparently overdid it on the budget.
And like I said earlier, they couldn't even make any profits internationally since they sold the rights to everywhere except the States.
So, one does wonder, if they hadn't gone that far, could this movie have been a success? Of course, then I guess we have to wonder if this movie would have even have been made if they didn't go that far. It's kind of a damned if you did, damned if you didn't sort of thing, it sounds like.
Pretty much.
my pretties fly.
Also, hang on. This is a Christmas thing. This is the second straight film we've done with Ian McKellen.
Wait. Witches involved in a war. Tia, you didn't tell me this was the precursors to the Strike Witches anime. Master Yoff here indeed.
Sure.
You know, somewhere a random effects person was thinking, you know what, this looks fine, but they need to animate a butthole. I'll make sure they get it right later. And God help me if the studio thinks it's so stupid that they have to edit it out.
Also, a usual reminder, a lot of these are actually day to night shot, and it's kind of noticeable.
You're not really a fan of day-to-night shots, are you?
Okay, like I mentioned, it's kind of like the same as Dwibs is when it comes to bad CGI. When it's not completely as bad, I'm actually more tolerant towards there. But when it's kind of in contrast, it's very distracting, at least to me. Oh. Oh.
So, would you say this was good for Freddie Highmore's career?
Let me check.
The little cat face.
Aww.
Also,
okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
He was in Finding Neverland in 2004. It was one of the first things he did in his career. After this, he did Jova.
Yes.
The next thing that he did was Spiderwick Chronicles.
Wow!
Also, he was in Astro Boy, like Pedro mentioned, in 2009. Then he was in 2. Actually, no. He was actually the protagonist of the R4 and the Invisible series by Luc Besson. So, yeah, that going. More recently, he was in Dragon Rider.
Weirdly enough, the Spider-Man Chronicles film back in the day did get positive reception. However, it was technically a box office bomb, since on a budget of $90 million, it only made $164.2 million.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, let's be fair. It was a movie trying to scrunch not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, but 5 books into a 95-long-minute movie.
So, basically, Jovi, you're saying that Paramount and Nickelodeon learned nothing from the series of unfortunate events movie.
Basically.
Now, to be fair, the books in Spiderwick Chronicles aren't as long as your average Harry Potter film, so there was some possibility for it to work, and I remember seeing it and being fine with it as a kid, though I've not seen it as an adult here and there. I mean...
the guy that the director of that film did Mean Girls and Freaky Friday.
Oh, those were good movies.
He also did He's All That.
There you go, they found Billy.
The gender swapped remake of She's All That.
I did not know there was a gender swap remake of that. But yeah, anyway, so they found one of the kids. Of course, that may have been just a trap. Good shot, Sam.
There you go. That's how you do it.
Seriously, like Sam.
No fussing.
Seriously, Sam Elliott's character here is the one who gets stuff done. And again, he's in a tag team with Kathy Bates here. Like, heck, it almost makes me want to spin off just for those two.
Okay, I have to admit, I kind of like a bit more the score in this particular section, so fair enough on that. It's just that for the quiet moment, it didn't work as I probably intended.
Mm-hmm.
Shit.
Everybody's a little busy.
Yeah.
I mean, this film. Okay, here's my problem with this movie. It moves too fast, yet it also kind of feels like it takes forever.
The reason it feels like it takes forever is because if you're not invested, then of course the movie is gonna feel.
Also,
like a
because that was probably the original intention. So when you just remove the bits of length, you get still the feeling.
So how do you get in?
And now we've reached the
Kingdom of the Ice Bears.
Oh god, maybe South Park really did base their airships off from this movie.
That's the thing, Joe. I was gonna say earlier. I checked. You know, it turns out Imagination Land trilogy came out in 2007, the same year as this. So I'm guessing Trey and Matt read the books. Did the books have illustrations?
I actually don't know.
No, not from what I well, at least not from the edition I read with my family.
Okay.
You know what Pedro is telling? Again, similar to the Lord of the Rings, there might be an edition that got accompanied with iconic illustrations to get a general idea what the character might look like in the eyes or in the mind of the author.
That is always possible.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, anyway, so these guys are off to go try and rescue Lyra. So Ian McKellen and Sam Elliott and Kathy Bates are all in an airship here.
Sounds like the start of a joke.
I feel like it, but I can't think of it. I mean, granted, again, awesome casting. Shame they don't do as much as they should have with them.
Yeah, that's the thing. Like, I know jack shit about Sam Elliott for as cool as he is. And the backstory of Mr. Polar Kellen here was given to me over the course of, 10 seconds, and then it just, whoa, calm down. Like, show me more. Like it was just this thing.
I would, okay.
It's hard for me to follow any of this because the movie doesn't allow anything to fucking breathe.
Here's my stance. I do think that if you are paying attention enough, you can make heads or tails of it. That being said, yeah, it is done in a way where if you so much as blink, you could potentially miss out on a lot. And yeah, it's like we've said, this movie feels simultaneously too fast, but also too slow. Like, it's too fast in the moments where it does need to actually slow down and explain stuff, and it's too slow in moments that should go at a moderate pace to keep us intrigued.
Okay, Pedro, this is the current King of the Ice Bears. Recognize that voice? Ian McShane.
Oh, great.
So we have Ian McKellen and Ian McShane as polar bears.
Let me guess, is Ian McDermott in here too?
Surprisingly not.
No. But, although it's kind of funny considering 1 year after this, he will actually voice Tai Lung in the first Kung Fu Panda.
Wait. That was Ian McDermott as Tai Lung?
Yeah.
Huh.
Oh, no, did you mean Ian McShane?
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
I think Joe thought you meant
Ian McDermott.
Sorry.
Yeah. Thank goodness Ian McShane isn't doing his usual bout of swearing up a storm.
Okay. I guess I will give a credit that the CG animals in this movie look better than the wolves in New Moon. So kudos to that.
Which is funny because Chris White sort of directed that film.
That's why I'm saying.
Again, like I mentioned, Dwebs, Twilight was practically no one's A game, and given the mandates he had to work with from not just the studio but Stephanie Meyer herself, yeah, I'm gonna give him the benefit of the doubt.
I mean, that film had different directors with almost every installment.
Gee, I wonder why.
So yeah, Lyra in this case is using her diplomacy skills to try to trick Ragnar.
Mm-hmm. We can rule the world.
Yeah.
You could read the script. Oh, wait, that doesn't work.
I'm pretty confident other people know that, but Sure.
Actually, that's a thing. It's something that only a select few should know, as far as he knows. So she's going to use the golden compass to pull the
To her
wool over his
advantage.
eyes. It's actually a clever bit here.
So what's she gonna do? Shine it at him?
No, she's going to peer into the golden compass, which will give her the
I
answer.
understand what the answer of what he just said.
Oh, okay.
Now that's the thing with the golden compass, though. You do have to decipher what you're
So yeah,
seeing
Pedro,
here.
in this alternate reality, we got Hamlet with polar bears, but Hamlet lost.
Pretty much.
Hey, they stole
Dwebs.
my script. How dare they?
Hey, Dweb.
Yeah?
Hey, Dwebs, I have another follow-up question from your previous question just earlier. Say, wasn't Nicole Kidman in this movie?
Yeah, that's the thing. Your characters just vanished from the movie.
So yeah, Lyra's plan is simple. Let Yorick and Ragnar fight, and ideally Yorick will actually kill him and become the new bear king.
Take his rightful throne and all.
Plot twist, they end up killing each other.
I'll admit
That's
that.
also...
Sorry,
go on.
I'll admit that polar bear armor does look metal as all hell.
It is. It's kind of like the same as in the Isles of Gahul. The idea of seeing these traditional animals, but with the equivalent of what the armor of a human would wear, is actually kind of interesting as a concept.
Well, Jova, it is metal.
Ha!
Yes. Funny,
guys.
What?
Guys, I need your help. I blinked again. What's happening?
Lyra has tricked Ragnar into having a 1v1 duel against Yorick, with the idea that if Yorick wins, he will become the new king of the polar bears.
To be fair, that was pretty much was the point of the entire last scene.
Sure.
Fair enough. That's also another thing with the bear society, their culture. They have a very strict sense of, code in terms of actually respecting honor, but as the other side of that coin is that people like Lyra can actually trick them easily using that against their advantage.
So basically, if I understood things correctly, Lyra is manipulating both of these bears.
It's more so a way so that she could survive and not be killed on the spot.
That too. So she basically took two birds with one stone.
Gee, maybe you should have done what Daniel said and just stay back there and,
Pedro, she couldn't have. She was kidnapped by Musketeers, remember?
All right. I'm sorry. I'm just I'm losing track of things again.
I guess, to your credit, this movie does have a bit of trouble keeping track of itself as well.
It's because, like I said, the movie moves way too fast. It's hard for me to pay attention because every time I'm starting to grasp what they're getting at, suddenly different scene.
That I can agree is a problem. Again, even if you are paying attention, the movie does not give you much time to register a lot of new revelations.
No, it does not. Pacing is incredibly important in movies because okay.
Yeah. Also, another ass shot.
Look at it this way, Joe. It's kind of like why Last Airbender sucks so much because they have to cram the entirety of the first season in just.
Yeah, I think that's a good comparison.
100 minutes, they have to rush the fuck out of everything.
And
it's a good comparison. We're just missing the racist casting.
And that's the thing. And the most frustrating thing about that movie is they even had extra scenes, but they specifically cut them out.
Yeah, that is true. Shyamalan actually did complain later that his original cut was apparently longer, but
wait,
I don't want more of your shitty writing, Shyamalan.
I thought he was the one who specifically cut out that stuff because he thought he would be too long.
Ow.
That's not what I heard, but then again, I'm not a specialist.
Guys, which Ian will win? Ian McShane or Ian McKellen?
I believe in you.
I believe in Ian. Which one? Either of them.
Okay, don't have
Well,
to shout.
you
Jesus.
asked for it. This is a kids' movie, by the way. You just saw a polar bear rip the other jaws off another polar bear.
And then break their neck. Any questions?
Wait, okay, I'm a bit... These polar bears just do kind of look too similar to each other. Who won?
Ian McKellen.
Yeah, McKellen.
Okay.
The armor is different.
Okay.
To be fair, the armor looks differently on the two.
Yeah. Okay. To be fair, I'm mistaken. The rating was PG-13, but still, though, that was literal gore right there.
Lord of the Rings also did not have this particular kind of gore.
Well,
there were some actual blood shots and everything, but not to this extent.
That's the thing. Like, I can see why it's PG-13. I mean, at least on this particular scene, I didn't even see any blood.
Well, all the same, you did literally see him rip the jaw off that other
There was some
bear.
actual red spots noticeable. To be fair, but the shot was actually far away enough for you to not actually see it.
That's the thing, Joe. But usually the MPAA, like the blood, is what triggers it
True,
for them to bump up the rating.
True. Like, hey, look at Ace Attorney. Rated T until Dual Destinies, when suddenly, oh, this one scene has too much blood in it. Gotta make it M. Granted, there is that one other thing, but I can't mention because spoilers. But yeah, so Yorick won the day. Good for him.
Good for him.
I mean, again, I'll admit, like, kudos to them not, lowering down on it. Like, then we do visually see the jaw get ripped off and thrown right at the camera. Like, almost makes me wonder, was this movie shot in 3D?
It might have had a 3D edition, for all I know. Oh.
Wait a minute. 2007. Did Polar Express come out this year?
Sorry, can you repeat that? The Polar Express?
Yeah.
I think it was actually a bit before. Let me check, just to be sure.
Hey,
I think it was 2005.
Hey guys, you know what's great about Polar Express? It was released in the ever wonderful Christmas time of October.
2004, sorry.
Of October 30th.
Actually, November 10, Jova.
No. Apparently, no. It was first shown in October 30th.
Actually, October 13th at the Chicago International Film Festival.
Although it's not December, is the point.
It did actually, guys. It did come out in December here in the UK.
But it was still 2004 as well, so a bit before this.
So the UK got it right, apparently.
Yes, we did.
Oh.
Yeah, you wanna move?
Fly, you fools!
Well, congratulations. We've now destroyed the entirety of this icy region.
The Ian McKellen's bear, theorized he could not actually, properly cross it anyway.
You shall not. Oh, wait.
Wrong movie.
Well, yeah. Hey, it's ironic. Now Ian McKellen's character can't pass.
Yes.
Huh.
You. I'll try my best Larry impression. You shall not pass. What's his name again? The polar bear.
Yorick.
Yorick. You shall not pass, Yorick. Vanguard.
Oh boy.
Okay.
I'd rather not.
Stranger danger.
I mean, this is literally the evil prison holding the kids that she's come to. But just to be safe, she's not going to give them her real name.
See, here's the thing, Joe. To go back to what I was saying earlier, when I first saw Last Airbender back in 2010, remember this was before I saw the show. I was in complete disarray trying to figure out what the fuck was going on, who's who, why is that guy, why is he doing that?
Oh yeah,
because,
absolutely. That movie is absolutely insane with its pace.
I mean, you guys read the book, so obviously you guys have a better idea of what they're trying to get at. But as someone who hasn't read the source material, I am completely lost with this crap.
And I've only seen the first episode of the TV show, so I don't really know much about this either.
Yeah.
Not in front of the demonic nurses. Straight out of the Promised Neverland. Although I don't think they're having the children be eaten.
Thankfully not.
They turned them into donkeys? I don't know.
Yeah, we took care of that.
By the way, Billy's fine. They just used him as bait. Oh.
That reminds me, actually, since we're gonna get the Disney's live-action Pinocchio soon, yeah, we're gonna get a wood to donkey CGI transformation.
Okay.
So,
Unless they covered out and they happen like similar to what the animated movie did, like in shadows, but just even more off screen.
well, to be fair, to the animated movie, you literally see his hands turn into hooves right on
No,
camera.
that's what they mentioned.
Yeah, sure, but a good portion of it...
hold on. No, what I said, Pedro, is that kind of like that, but somehow even more cowardly. As in full shadow.
Turns out I'm still in this movie.
Give something to that poor baboon.
Well, Tails. Sometimes letting the player, letting the viewer fill in the gaps can actually make something. It's basic horror, you know.
He wasn't
I know
critiquing the old one, Pedro.
Sure. Well, he did say,
again,
chicken out.
That's what I'm eventually for
He's
the
talking about the newer one.
Yeah, theorizing on what the new one will do because it will deem, otherwise it will be too scary.
Yeah, I guess.
Huh.
There's Daniel Craig. Also, Ash. Why is this movie as many Ash shots in the weirdest places? You're an idiot.
Bad touch.
Well, shoot.
Dramatic. Passing away. Oh, what was this grand angle? Oh, what the
Oh,
fuck?
goodness me. Stop that.
Wide angle lens, ahoy.
My wide angle lens is about to burst.
This movie has a lot of weird experimental shots.
Chris is being very avant-garde, Teo.
So yeah, these facilities' true purpose separate people from their respective familiars.
Hey,
and now we're going to experiment. And now we're going to turn our experimental machine and switch your brains. Wait, is it what?
What are they even doing?
I don't know.
Do you remember the church? The church deems them as demons, so there's that too.
Oh no, because I care you about now for some reason.
Well, no, she needs her alive.
Yeah. Oh yeah, right. Her face.
What's wrong with your face?
Seriously, that slow motion was so funny. Lara! They might as well have had her say, Lara, no!
Yay, hug the cat.
At me. I
just
hurt
did.
you.
It's too late.
You know, Lara...
Did you get it?
Just a little cut, even though you rushed right in there to stop it from happening to her.
Then clean the house.
Shiri, it's gonna be interesting if you actually get to see Dune in one way or another, considering the MacGuffin of that entire franchise. It's literally just called the spice. Basically, if you interpret it literally, you can tell me you just sprinkle some pepper in your ship's engine and make it go faster than light travel.
Beautiful. And just a reminder...
Okay, director, can you not do these close-ups?
I get the feeling
Chris,
Chris
we're just bored at this point as well, and you want to experiment with the shots.
I get that. I think he's trying really hard to make Nicole Kidman intimidating.
That's the thing. Usually, the thing that it's done for making a person intimidating to another, usually the trick that's usually will use most, is to have the angle from down, so the person appears more imposing, more bigger.
Yeah,
but they don't do that.
That's a technique that Orson Welles pioneered.
Now look, I'm not saying I am your mother, but, well, you know.
Surprised they didn't rename this How I Met My Mother or something.
You see, Lara, I am your mother.
No! That's not true! It's not possible!
There you go, Jova.
Yes,
Wasn't Creed was close enough.
And Billy is your brother.
That's not true. That's improbable.
And the villains will be defeated by polar bears.
That's not very likely.
Again, Mother got her parallel again. You only say with me. You need me and everything.
So it turns out the reason she does care for her in her own twisted way is because, well, she's her mother. And Lord Asriel...
This makes it a little worse, I think.
And by the
Lord
way,
Asriel...
yes, we get this twist that Daniel Craig is actually her father, just dropped like that.
Yep, her uncle is actually her father.
Actually, this reminds me of another thing. I think we got a better parallel. Minus the executive meddling. The story event adapts horribly and rushes through most of its first book. This is basically the same thing as Aragon.
Now again, to be fair, yes, these were elements in the book, but it was done better in the book. Just saying.
The only difference that I can give is the fact that Christopher Paolini was more of a hack, and thus the fantasy world that he created was a bit more on the nose.
I'm talking about this movie.
No. I was getting there, Jova. So the comparison only limits to the fact that the story rushes its elements and only adapts them partially.
Yeah. Okay. Aragon is a bit of a mess too, in the regard that, yes, it did deserve to be done justice. The problem is, the book itself was kind of a bit of a mess, too.
So basically, as for this movie, the whole plot is basically just fell into our lap.
I'm sorry, what just happened?
Exactly. Remember, Lara tricked Nicole Kidman's character in opening the box saying that the Golden Compass was inside that, but instead it was one of her own spy flies.
Right, yeah, so it knocked her out. Okay, fair enough.
It was literally a Chekhov's gun.
Yeah.
You see what I mean? It's a problem when even Jova has to ask, wait, what just happened?
I think the issue with that scene is like, well, it happens so quick that you can't properly see the spy fly come out.
Okay, I'm going to instead
like every other scene.
To be fair, well, like Jova instead, yeet. Don't throw the toaster in the bathtub.
Don't you see? Toasters are perfect for destroying everything.
Just
throw a toaster in and BAM! Explosions! And now you're all free!
Also, Jova mentioned it before, but I do believe also, yes, if you pay enough attention to the movie, it is more understandable than anything, but it still requires you to actually do paying attention, which is something that a casual viewer probably might not do that.
Like, okay, look, on your first viewing of a movie, it is incredibly easy to miss some details here and there. So, you know what? Fine, that's what rewatch bonuses are for. However, a movie should not feel like, if I so much as blink, I may not get something here and there. And granted, I did...
Oh, defiant.
Granted, I did know about the spy fly here, although like Pedro did mention, there's so much happening in this movie packed together that, well, you can lose track of some things, unfortunately.
I am Spartacus.
Here's the thing, Theo. The reason pacing is incredibly important in a movie is because the audience wants to watch the movie and relax while doing so.
Hey, Yurik! Wait.
Let me finish, though.
Hold on. Yurik, where did you come from? You weren't there a second ago, but suddenly you appeared there. How did he do that?
As we see, also, he was without his armor. Go on, Pedro.
See, this movie is basically requiring me to be completely tense and completely not taking a single eye out of the screen and literally basically ignoring all my senses to anything outside of said movie. That's basically what this movie is asking me. And it's just one of those cases where, again, it's a bit like, okay, people, when you watch a movie with that kind of pressure, it becomes not enjoyable.
There you go. There's Emma Green's character.
She's
in the last 10 minutes.
Turns out I'm still in... Yes, I'm still in this movie.
See, it turns out she's one of the witches.
Of course, because whatever, the movie's almost over.
I think, Peter, in that case, it might have worked better on the big screen because I don't know how you do it, but when I actually have to go to see a movie in theaters, I actually do exactly as you said.
Yeah, I mean, to be fair, it does make sense to pay attention to a movie, especially if you're watching it. So
obviously, see that's how Tenet is. Tenet is a movie that absolutely requires your undivided attention. It's just that even that movie, at the very least, allows its scenes to actually breathe.
Also,
shaky cam.
Also,
again, we're doing all the weird experimental shots movie, aren't we?
Also, that toaster oven literally is causing this entire facility to explode. Damn.
I guess it's built by the Federation, the Evil Federation from Metroid.
So
either that or this building is incredibly flimsy.
So Tia, by this logic, your computer could have helped destroy this place and free the children, since you constantly refer to it as a toaster.
Heh.
Might as well throw this into the ring since for God, sure, whatever.
For Narnia. Again, you're having your climactic battles with a day-to-night shot. Fucking hell.
See, allow me. Okay, see, here's another thing that's kind of interesting about movies like these. Action scenes can actually be very helpful in allowing the viewer to unwind. You know why? Because usually when there's an action scene, that's because it's just there to serve as the primary physical conflict that's a result of the actual story. As a result, the viewer can relax a bit because he's just watching something that's purely visceral rather than verbal. That's why Tenet, despite being incredibly demanding of the viewer's attention, is still very enjoyable because when there's an action scene, the viewer is allowed to now relax because, okay, now it's an action scene, I can relax a bit. In this movie, based on what Joe is saying, it seems like this movie gives me little time to relax. Now, actually, it's an action scene, so I have something, but at this point, it's just too little, too late.
I mean, it's not the worst movie in that regard,
no, it's not. I've seen worse. It's just that, this movie is not very good.
Oh, no, it's not. That said, though, again, here's the big irony, though. it wasn't so much that this was the reason the movie failed. It still did apparently make the money. No, the problem was that apparently they went too high with the budget. So part of me does wonder if things would have improved in the potential sequel.
Who knows?
Who really does know?
Let me see what was the reason actually of the canceling.
We all did it.
Together?
Yes.
Oh man.
What is it, you?
Apparently the sequel was supposed to be written by Hossein Amini, of all people.
Never heard of
The
it.
the person who did the screenplay of 47 Ronin.
Never heard of that film.
It's not great.
Okay.
I just say that I don't think this person would have been fitting for a sequel of this caliber, but I'll mention more later because the final credits are approaching anyway.
But yes, I have to go find my father, who I just found out is my father.
By the way, my mom is actually a bitch, so...
And you're coming with me, I guess.
Oh, hey Sam, how nice of you to show up right on time, right on cue.
He was there during the fight scene. I even mentioned the
Oh, he
boom
was?
headshot bit.
Yeah.
You did? Okay.
I literally mentioned that.
Sure.
Oh, also the witch is coming. And now we have our recurring cast, all set for this trilogy.
I think we actually end on a sequel hook line. Let me see.
Raymond, Chris. So, not happening.
A prophecy about the child. Should we tell her, guys?
I'll just say it's
No,
gonna
spoilers.
take
you know, it's stuff like this in Pan. I love how movies blatantly sequel hook, only to then go, nope. It's like how with that recent Cowboy Bebop live action thing.
The Super Mario Bros. Live action movie as well.
And now the live action Cowboy Bebop Netflix series can join the pantheon.
Yeah, let's make this. Yeah, I think it's fair enough to be topical.
Also, Battleship.
Yeah,
Wait,
that too.
Was Battleship setting up a sequel?
Remember,
hook?
Jova? Yes, remember the post-credit scene had that scene in Scotland for some reason.
There was also
right, that.
there was also the Alita Battle Angel movie.
Do we know if James Cameron is supposedly still planning on a sequel in between one of his many Avatar movies?
Oh, there's Daniel Craig.
Oh, snap. Come to think of it, so was that last scene with Daniel Craig literally the last we're gonna see of him?
Okay, by the in-universe chronology, the last scene that we technically saw him was him being captured.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I was saying, where the hell did he go?
Well, okay, hold on. We have about 12 minutes left.
No, Joba, the credits are approaching and there's no post-credit scene.
Seriously? I mean, granted, maybe that was how it was with his character in the book, but I don't recall it feeling this incomplete at the end of the book.
Spoilers, she will not.
You
It's
know,
gonna take you a while.
I'll say this. Part of me does kind of want to see if they could have gotten their acts together with the other movies here and there, because again, such a great cast, and you know... Okay, I will say this. None of this is the cast's fault. Like, I do feel like the actors are trying, except for that one guy who gave off the robotic performance.
Oh, Jova continuing from the earlier skit. Oh, and the dust? Turns out that's just basically magical thingies that basically are a result of how bad humans are.
You know, Mother, if you're not going to take this seriously, I'm not going to either.
The concept in itself is not too unfounded. The idea of humans generating a discharge product that is ultimately dangerous to us.
This is a common fantasy trope.
Okay,
Just let them... Wait, guys. That line. Just let them try to stop us. Well, they may not stop you, but the executives will.
They turn and smile at the camera.
Oh, there you are, sure. But aside from Tales of Abyss, I don't remember right now any specific example, but I'm pretty sure there are a couple of famous ones.
And there they go.
Right to the good lord, what is happening in there?
It's a sequel.
a sequel at the tail end of the movie at this time of the night, right before the credits.
Yes.
May we see it?
No. In fact, you'll never get to see it now because you asked too many questions. Goodbye! Everyone is done!
All
Go
right,
home!
Let me
Shut
mention
it
quickly
down!
about the cancelled sequels. Well, Sam Raimi was supposed to write the screenplay of the second book, The Subtle Knife, potentially to be released in May 2010. Oh, way too much. With the third book of the trilogy, The Emperor's Paragas, to follow. However, New Line President Toby Emmerich stressed that production of the second and third films was dependent on financial success of The Golden Compass. When the movie did not meet expectation, the United States box office, the likelihood of a sequel was downplayed by New Line. According to studio co-head Michael Lean, the jury is still very much out on the movie, and while it performed very strongly overseas, we'll look at it early 2008 and see where we're going with the sequel. In February 2008, Weitz told in a Japanese newspaper, the Daily Yomiuri, that he still hoped for the sequel's production. Although producer Deborah Forte had in March 2008 expressed optimism that the sequel would be made, by October of the same year, the two planned sequels were issued placed on hold, according to the UNCF, because of financial concerns with the global recession. So the financial crisis helped this too. Fantastic.
Wow, so basically it sounds like this movie was all the stars aligning against this movie getting a sequel. Gee! All the stars aligning against a New Line Cinema project.
Sam Elliott, however, mentioned in an interview, but apparently his personal opinion was that New Line Cinema was apparently too scared off by the Catholic Church, pressure against the controversies. Which I would understand. I'll read them, a bit later.
Again,
which ultimately led to HBO and BBC to make that conjunct production in 2019 to reboot the series entirely into series format and adapt eventually all three books. So fair enough.
Again, to you, ironically, from what you're describing, it sounds again like about where all the stars are aligning against a New Line Cinema project.
But yes, also there was an official video game adaptation of this, published by Sega of all people, and developed, apparently, Pedro, by Shiny Entertainment. Although, if I recall correctly, David Perry and every major person had left the company at this point. So it was, and this was actually the last game that they did. So this game basically, I don't think this game officially killed them. They're probably on the death row on their own already. But yeah, that's pretty much it. Basically, I actually have a physical copy of a PS3 version, so I might record that. Although you might be interested, Pedro, that a PC version got released, so you might be curious to check that one out on your own if that's still available in a copy somewhere on the internet. But again, we'll see that another time for what we know. For the time being, let's go with our final thoughts. I'll continue mentioning later. Twips.
So yeah, this was a fantasy movie, all right.
Complete with a lyrical song in the credits.
Yeah, okay. My main problem with this movie is the pacing. It feels way too fast, and yet it also feels like it takes forever. I mean, bits don't get to gel or sink in with the viewer, but yet it's so dull. That's the reason it feels like it takes forever. It's just so dull.
Yep.
It's not that exciting. I mean, the cast are fine except for that guy who sounded like he was like reading directly off the script in that scene just like a bit ago. And the music is generic. I mean, again, if this is supposed to be their new Lord of the Rings, then they kind of failed. Well, they failed in every department, but especially the music one. I mean, I do like Alexandre Desplat's work normally. It's just this wasn't there. I mean, he will get to do the final two Harry Potter films, so there's that, I guess, for him.
Mm-hmm.
The effects range from either really good to at times kind of oof. Like in the same movie, because I mean seriously, and the story, what there is of it, and how much New Line Cinema cut from it, I don't know. But with such brilliant decision making as this, is there any? I just can't fathom why this film ended up destroying New Line as their own entity. Can you guys?
Again, it was mostly because of a conjunct different things like the budget. It will be too inflated.
Yeah. I mean, that's the thing, though. Lord of the Rings cost way less than this. All 3 films individually.
I do wonder
And not only did they make more money, but they look better than this. And those films came out a few years before.
I wonder if it was a case of the investing too much in the CGI and the casting.
Well, I mean, since they kept changing the cast.
And again, I do argue, like, you spent already 180 million. Release the full cut at that point. For fuck's sake.
I know, right?
I mean, at this point, I think...
No, not now, I mean, Dweebs, but, at that point, logical thinking. I really withdraw on this one. What were the executives at the New Line Cinema thinking?
Cha-ching?
Well, again, that's the thing. Like, again, they wanted to capture the success of Lord of the Rings, but took out one of the key factors that helped Lord of the Rings become such a success. That's like if Warner Brothers went, hey, these Harry Potter movies have been doing well, but starting with the 5th one, let's cut them down to only 90 minutes or something. That'll totally help us make more money.
Yeah. I mean, granted, maybe cutting down a couple of the films' legs might have helped them. Half Footprints.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, yeah. Bottom line, it is kind of a shame that New Line as their own entity had to go down like this, especially considering they made Lord of the Rings in the same decade.
Mm-hmm.
Again, I mean, it'd be like if in the 60s MGM was successful with James Bond, and yet they tried to make an adaptation of Oliver Twist, but spent so much money that they bought that the studio would get destroyed and probably gets absorbed by I don't know, RKO Pictures or something.
It's like Theo mentioned in our Island of Dr. Moreau series. It's an ironic but still bit of a sad fate here and there. They raged against the storm and managed to survive the absolute disaster that was Island of Moreau, came back stronger than ever with the Lord of the Rings trilogy.
Don't forget, Jova, before that, there was also Spawn the year after.
God.
And the Dungeons & Dragons movie 3 years after that.
They survived all of that, only to die with a movie that was technically going off of the initial numbers, a financial success. The problem was all the gambits they had taken to make this movie apparently left their coffers empty enough to the point where they were put up for sale.
This is the equivalent... Sorry, go on.
Well, they weren't put up for sale exactly, Joe. But basically, they were already owned by Time Warner at this point, but they were still operating as their own entity. But
Warner Bros. Just tightened the leash.
Yeah, they basically, Warner Brothers just basically took them under their wing entirely. And while New Line technically still exists to this day and still produce their own movies, they are pretty much underneath Warner Brothers' eye.
It's pretty much like a person getting turned into a nobody subservient to Xemnas, essentially.
Yeah. The best analogy for this is the equivalent of stumbling until reaching the finish line, actually getting there, but almost immediately after slipping on a banana peel and breaking your neck and killing yourself.
Pretty much. Again, it is kind of a bit of a sad and somewhat anticlimactic one. Not too dissimilar from a hero's tragedy. Like, when you get down to it, a lot of famous heroes in pop cultural media or fantasy and whatnot go through incredibly amazing feats, only to die in very anticlimactic and, wait, what, that really happened sort of ways.
Anyway, you're done, Dweebs?
Yeah, I'm done now. If you'll guys excuse me, I'm going to pull away what you guys did with me last year and steal your transport and go right ahead to the next thing. Bye!
Anyway, while we resolve the situation, Shira, go next.
Well, first of all, we Brits can teleport, Jova. Surprised you didn't know that. But yeah, this movie is very uninteresting. The actual books, they seem like something I would enjoy, but this is not a good first impression. This was my first impression of of this series, and yep, I was right. I was right back then, and I'm right now. This is pretty boring.
You see, Shiroi, Nicole Kidman is Dakota's mother. Do you see the genius of it?
That didn't have the impact the movie thought it did.
But Shiroi, we put so much into it. Don't you feel the slightest bit moved by that scene?
A lot of the things that should have had impact didn't, like her finding Billy and whatever.
How would we if Nicole Kidman is barely in this movie?
But also, she's the bad guy, guys, and she's
in the movie being a sneering bitch, and then she does things sometimes.
Also, a small connection to the movie of Cats. Apparently, the pilot of the series, the first 2 episodes at the very least, were also directed by Tom Hooper. Interesting.
Okay, then.
Maybe that was his idea. But, I mean, go on, Shiroi.
I don't have much else to say about this. I mean, the acting's fine. The CGI isn't too bad.
Would you be interested to give the series potentially a chance?
The book series or the TV series, or both?
Both, potentially.
Either.
You already mentioned the book series, but yeah. Okay.
Yep, either. I've heard a lot of good things about the His Dark Materials TV series. So.
Yeah, I checked so far both positive reviews, and again, it has been renewed for a 3rd season that is yet to come out. So there's that.
But no, I would check out the series. I think I would enjoy it, like over this adaptation that we got. That's it.
All right, right before might as well go next. So let me read the stuff. Controversy. All right. Several key themes of the novel, such as rejection of religion and abuse of power, fictionalized version of the church, were diluted in the adaptation. Director Vines said that in the books, the Magisterium is a version of the Catholic Church gone wildly astray from its roots, but that the organization portrayed in the film will not directly match the Pullman's books. Instead, the Magisterium represents all dogmatic organizations. Right. Attempted to reassure the fans of the novels, Vine said that the religion will indeed appear in euphemistic terms, yet the decision was criticized by some of the fans. Anti-censorship groups, as the National Secular Society, of which Pullman is an honorary associate, which said that they are taking the heart out of it, losing the point of it, and castrating. And this is part of a long-term problem of over freedom of speech. Oh, man. The Atlantic wrote, with 180 million at stake, the studio offered to kidnap the book's body and leave behind its soul.
I'm sorry, what?
The changes to the novel have been present since Tom Stoppard's rejected version of the script, and Pullman expected the film to be faithful, although he also said they do know where to put the theology and vets of the film. And then let's see what the actual Christianity group mentioned. A Christianity Today review of the film noted that the Magisterium does refer in the real world to the teaching authority of a Roman Catholic Church, and the film is peppered with religiously significant words like oblation and heresy. Adding that when one character smashes through the wall of the Magisterium building, the damaged exterior is decorated with Christian Byzantine icons, the one I mentioned before. The Catholic League called a boycott of the film. League President William A. Donoghue said that he will not ordinarily object the film, but that while the religious elements are diluted from the source material, the film will encourage children to read the novels, which he said denigrate Christianity and promote atheism from children. He cited Pullman telling the Washington Post in 2001 that he's trying to undermine the basis of Christian belief, and the League opted that the film would fail to meet the success expectation that Pullman's books attract few buyers. Well, he wasn't wrong on that. The current boycott campaign a success after North American opening weekend, which was lower than anticipated. The rest is mostly the same thing. Other groups and newspaper, like including the official Vatican one, L'Osservatore Romano, as in the Roman Observer, published editorials in which denounced the films as godless and stuff like that. And ultimately, again, Sam Elliott speculated at very least that the cancellation of the movies was because of this tactic that scared New Line Cinema ultimately.
So, what I got from this is that Pullman blamed part of the film's failure for not being as religion-bashing as the book was.
But again, I am curious, considering again this is the more tame version, I do wonder how actually the books fare on that regard. I wonder if it is a case similar to like Ready Player One in a sense, not mind you, strictly in terms of adaptations versus original, where the book is really much more evident and potentially too on the nose. But that's only my speculation anyway. As for the difference, we pretty much noticed everything that needed to be. I don't think any of the section here needs to be read, otherwise it will be elongating too much of it. But as for me, again, it's just kind of like as I remember the big memories that I had the first time I saw it. There is a lot of potential in this world. Again, I never remove the potential of a fantasy setting that tries to be creative enough, even if it tries to be similar to our world. Again, I usually this kind of code. Give two people guns to shoot each other and just that, and it's boring. But give at least one of them, fire powers, and now we're kind of talking. And this is kind of what this movie does. It tries to be similar because, again, parallel Earth, but it has inherently fantastical elements like talking animals and actual, some kind of mythological powers, and tries to do something with it, which I wouldn't mind. But again, the pacing, Jesus Christ. It's kind of like Pedro said, you need to pay very attention to the movie to actually absorb everything it does. And even then, you're probably still missing out some stuff. And you can definitely notice the editing, scissors swinging away all over the place and cutting away pieces of the movies. It's kind of like that scene in Cinderella where the stepsister throw trash away her dressing. It's kind of like that. Mm-hmm. Picture the editors and you in cinema taking the real film and throwing it away like this.
I will destroy it so we can make something better out of it.
Yeah, and look how that turned out. Again, I still say also, you had a 180 million budget, release the full cut at that point. Don't be chicken about it. You know that people will criticize your movie anyway if you're that scared of that. So go full hog. Again, the Dan Brown adaptation movies did not shy away from telling what they did, even if they did have some differences about it still from the movies, and they've ended up being successful. Some of them riding proudly their controversy as like a badge, But I get the idea. This trying to be more kid friendly, Again, trying to ride the Lord of the Rings success,
yes.
which ultimately, led to their demise.
As kid friendly as you can be in a movie where you see a polar bear literally rip another's lower jaw off and throw it right at the camera.
3D again. I don't know if it actually was 3D. So yeah, the while this movie is technically bad, the worst I can say about it is that it's just missed potential. I do believe another attempt at this story can be effectful, and apparently the series has been proven this point. So I might be checking out that in the future. Who knows? It's very short anyway so far. The first two seasons are like 15 episodes. And I'm guessing each of them is like around 40 minutes each. Less traditional kind of standard for this kind of series. So it shouldn't require too much time for me to binge it. Sorry. The first season was announced in December 2020, but has never been, given a release date until, even now. The pandemic probably helped, did not help on that. So we'll see when the first season will actually be released. But who knows? Maybe this series actually would be good enough for actually, being a decent adaptation of this. Who's next?
I'll go next. Oh boy, yeah, I think the best way to describe this film is wasted potential. Seriously, the cast here is stellar here, and a lot are doing their best job. Again, except for that one guy who just sounded like a robot reading from the script when he was explaining stuff about the Golden Compass. But no, they're all, they're all here and there. The main problem is just the story and adaptation here, and all around. Especially given how our protagonist literally saves the day by throwing a toaster into the device, and that not only destroys the device, but destroys the entire base.
You know what they say, Jova? All toasters toast.
Yes. Again, there's a lot of good ideas in this movie. And, they do execute some of them well. Like I mentioned, Sam Elliott and Kathy Bates are great in this movie. They're so great that even Pullman enjoyed Sam Elliott in this movie. But again, the movie just... Okay, again, it's trying to be Lord of the Rings, while also not trying to be Lord of the Rings, if you can make heads or tails about it. Again, they won the success of Lord of the Rings, but they took out some of the main factors that helped make Lord of the Rings such a success. The main one being the runtime here and there. The movie does not feel like it has the proper time to let viewers register what has just happened here and there. Again, I'd argue you can understand what's going on so long as you're paying well enough attention. However, you won't be blamed for forgetting some very specific details given how much is packed in and how little time you do have to reflect on stuff here and there, sadly. That said, the visuals are good. I can get why it got praised for that. Fair enough. Do I feel that this should have been the movie that killed off New Line Cinema? That's a tough one. Like, okay, as we mentioned, this is by no means New Line Cinema's biggest blunder. Like, we've seen far, far worse from them on the show. Yet, given the fact that New Line Cinema really have nobody to blame but themselves while pulling those stupid executive mandates here and there, I wonder if this should serve as a caustic tale of what bad executive meddling can do. Okay. At least with the island of Dr. Moreau, while the executives did play a part in it, there was a lot going on down on base that, messed with the film. So, in some cases, it wasn't entirely New Line Cinema's fault. They were the ones who definitely ignited things, but, well, stuff got messy all around on both ends. This is one I can blame mainly on the execs, and, well, if that's the case, then I can't say that it wasn't completely undeserved that this is what killed them here. Okay, now, I will say this, though. I do get the need to balance out a creative mind with a business mindset here and there. Like, for as much as we do demonize the business side of things, there is a reason that there is a business side of things and why a creator may not always be the best businessman in mind. A creator will often do what a creator wants to do. And you know what? Fair enough. However, that creator can sometimes go in a bout of, screw the fans, I want to do it specifically this way. And sometimes it takes the businessman to remind that creator, well, you shouldn't just disrespect fans of the material this way or that, otherwise it's really going to hurt us here and there. So I do get it. The executives and businessmen do have something of a role to play. The problem is when they think they are the full-on creators, though, and then just make dumb decision after dumb decision. And it's something that they seriously need to learn. There needs to be just the right mix of balance each time. And I get it, that it's not always going to work out that way. This is one of those cases where they could have made it work, but they did blatant decisions that still baffle me. We want to make this as great as Lord of the Rings. But we're going to cut down the time so that it doesn't have time to fit in stuff like the Lord of the Rings films did. Damn, we're good at our jobs. Oh, wait, no. This didn't work out, actually. In fact, it turns out because of that, we may not have made enough money to truly clear a profit. Now our company's dying. Where did we go wrong?
Shocked Pikachu face.
Pretty much there. Like, I think that's the best way to describe this movie. It's the equivalent of a shocked Pikachu face. Executives making a mess of things and then acting shocked that it ended up being a mess of things. And what a shame that is. Pedro, close us out with your final thoughts.
Well, I guess that happened. You're actually going to try and convince me that what I just saw is something that actually happened, wasn't an hallucination or a fever dream.
Don't you see? Nicole Kidman is Dakota's mother. That's pretty much the main payoff of the film when you get down to it.
I would make a joke and tell you that you inhale too much dust, but to be fair, the movie doesn't still explain what dust is.
Jesus Christ.
Well, to be fair, there is that bit where they try to explain that it's something that caused because of how men were evil and then dust got here.
It's what Nicole Kidman said, that considering the parallels with religion, it's implied that she's lying through her teeth.
Oh, okay. In that case, well, I guess so. So the one time, whatever.
I don't know. Here's speculation.
So here's what I was able to gather throughout this entire thing.
All right, go on.
Okay, so there's this girl. She's the nephew of Daniel Craig, but then Daniel Craig tells her, "Hey, stay here and be a lady." No, I can't be a lady because, reasons. And then Nicole Kidman shows up and abducts her, but then she runs away. Then she meets with pirates, and then she goes out on the open sea. Then the witch shows up and tells us, "By the way, I will show up later to help you." Okay, bye. Shh. And then she meets a polar bear. Then they go to fight the other bigger polar bear. And then Sam Elliott is there with a gun. And then there's a big war because reasons. And then Nicole Kidman also turns out to be the mother, as well as the uncle turns out to be the father. And then the movie just kind of stops instead of ending. That's basically what I was able to gather from this.
We have our resident Pedro P. Baum, I guess, for this review.
Yes, this is basically what happened with this movie. This movie is impossible to comprehend because the movie goes by so fast. It doesn't allow anything to sink in. It just keeps going and going and going, scene to scene to scene to scene to scene to scene to scene. Nicole Kidman, supposedly our villain, is barely in this thing. And then suddenly, boom! Turns out I'm your mother. Why should I care? You've been barely in this thing.
It shows the shock because she was terrible to her at first, but it turns out she truly does care for her.
That's great, I guess. I didn't really have the time to get to know either, so I don't care. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Daniel Craig disappears at the halfway mark.
Oh yeah, I do have to agree with that. The last we see is him getting captured and.
No, we do see that kind of flashback, around the 2/3 mark.
Like you said, chronologically, though, that was
in terms of a movie's own internal chronology, yes.
Daniel Craig gets kidnapped, and they never resolve that plot thread because
From what I quickly skimmed, it seems that the video game ends with them actually rescuing him. But again, we'll have to see actually when the game gets covered.
Okay. Let me put it like this. This kind of ending only works with the back-to-back sort of sequel thing, where okay, we just gotta wait till next year and boom, we'll pick right up back where we left off. Basically the movies and parts before that became an actual thing.
Mm-hmm.
Go on.
The only thing that was missing was a sequel teased a la Last Airbender. And now, my daughter, you will get Lyra. I will father. Dun 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 dun.
Oh my God, she knows.
Okay.
Well, hey, look at the bright side. At least, so it turns out she is the daughter of Dr. Chase and James Bond.
What a bizarre couple.
Okay. Does Daniel Craig even know that he's her father?
Yes. Well, okay.
I think it's the same thing. It's the same thing as Brom. In Aragon, that he already knew but kept it a secret for
her protection and all
protection, that. Yes.
Of course. Yeah, that happened. Honestly, from what I can basically gather, this is basically a big family dispute. Basically, both father, mother, and daughter basically just can't get along.
So it really is like Star Wars.
Yeah. Basically, the point is this movie is derivative. It goes way too fast. It rushes the fuck out of the story, and as a result, it's impossible to care about anything. The music is, for the most part, not that interesting. The visuals are just typical generic fantasy movie of this era. So whatever. It's they all blend in.
Mm-hmm.
The rip-off stuff of the Lord of the Rings and Star Wars is just also not helping. It's a movie. I'm not even mad. I'm just like,
Bored.
well, no, not even. Well, yeah, bored to a certain extent, but at the same time, it's
More
mostly just the fact.
Bafflement, would you say?
Yeah, I'm more baffled because again, like seriously, like, if you want, okay, let's adapt the book, but let's completely cripple the fucking story by cutting its legs and arms.
Pretty much.
Like, it's
Would
just...
you be willing to give the HBO BBC series a chance potentially?
Sure, I guess, but yeah, this movie ain't it, Chief.
Mm-hmm. All right, we'll actually get to the game eventually at some point. I'll probably do a test run. Not sure I want to do it blind, considering it might be one of those licensed games that will secretly super difficult. I encountered that problem with the Beowulf video game, believe it or not. But as our next destination, can we go back to our own dimension, Pedro, please?
Yes. We're going back to New York. Well, actually, no, not back to New York. We're going back to America, and then we'll visit New York because it turns out Kevin is lost. Again.
More wacky hijinks to ensue.
And for whatever reason, he's suffering from selective amnesia. How? I guess we'll have to explain when we get to Home Alone 2, Lost in New York.
Yeah.
Yeah.